What really happens inside your body if you eat 1 clove of garlic every night for 30 consecutive days? Not on the first day, not after 1 week, but specifically after day 21, because there is a hidden point at which the effect shifts from being a passing experiment to becoming a new direction within your bloodstream. At first, you may feel almost nothing, and that's exactly why most people stop. They expect a fast result from a small habit, and when they don't see it, they withdraw. But change doesn't begin when you feel it. It begins when the signal repeats often enough to force the body to adjust its direction. If you continue to the end, you may notice that your blood pressure becomes more stable, your energy stops fluctuating the way it used to, and your body's response to sugar and low-grade inflammation is no longer the same. It all begins the moment garlic is crushed. In that moment, a compound called allicin converts into allicin, a biologically active compound that enters the bloodstream relatively quickly and begins sending direct signals to the lining of the arteries and to immune cells. During the first 3 days, nitric oxide production begins to rise slightly, blood vessels relax a little, and circulation subtly shifts, even if you don't feel it. This isn't a dramatic drop in blood pressure. It's the beginning of a change in how your arteries respond to stress. At the same time, sulfur compounds begin reducing certain low-grade inflammatory activity, the silent inflammation that doesn't cause sharp pain, but places pressure on blood vessels and drains energy. You won't see a sudden result. You won't experience a dramatic surge, but the signal has started. And with each night it repeats, the effect deepens. By the end of the first week, measurements may begin to show slight stabilization in blood pressure, calmer fluctuations, and gradual reductions in oxidative stress inside cells. This isn't the major transformation yet, but it's the point where the trajectory begins to shift. If you stop here, you won't see the real difference, because week 2 determines whether those signals fade or become a functional change in how your body operates. As week 2 begins, the body no longer treats garlic as a temporary input. The signal has repeated 7 full times, and the body does not respond to randomness. It responds to patterns. When a signal repeats day after day, the response becomes steadier and deeper. The blood vessels that relaxed slightly during week 1 now respond more consistently. Nitric oxide production becomes more stable rather than intermittent. The result isn't a sudden drop in blood pressure, but a clearer reduction in fluctuation intensity. The gap between the highest and lowest readings begins to narrow. That matters. It suggests the arteries are no longer in a constant state of tension. But a deeper effect begins here as well. Garlic's sulfur compounds don't only influence arteries, they begin improving cellular sensitivity to insulin. This means the body handles blood sugar more efficiently. After meals, spikes may become less sharp. Sudden drops in energy may feel less dramatic. Post-meal fatigue may gradually lessen, not because garlic is a stimulant, but because the body's response has become more balanced. In the background, oxidative stress continues to decrease. Free radicals don't disappear. They are part of normal metabolism, but the internal antioxidant environment becomes more supportive. As oxidative stress declines, low-grade inflammation also begins to ease. This silent inflammation is associated with high blood pressure, cholesterol imbalance, and insulin resistance. Even a modest reduction can shift multiple biological pathways in the same direction. By day 14, 4 changes may align simultaneously. Smoother blood flow, more stable pressure, calmer glucose response, reduced inflammatory activity. This isn't a miracle. It's the beginning of a real directional shift, but it still isn't the peak. Week 3 is where small improvements transition from isolated signals into a new biological pattern. This is where the difference appears between those who continued and those who stopped early. By day 15, the effects are no longer separate or merely gradual. The signals that began subtly in week 1 and became clearer in week 2 now begin overlapping. Improved vascular flexibility, steadier glucose handling, and reduced inflammatory tone start working in the same direction. Here, the difference may become measurable. Blood pressure doesn't just feel calmer. It may begin to decline more noticeably in some individuals, especially if it was elevated to begin with. The reason isn't a single impact. It's accumulated signaling that improved endothelial function and reduced internal strain on the arteries. But the larger shift may appear in the blood itself. Garlic compounds may begin influencing cholesterol production within the liver. Some research suggests they support reduced LDL synthesis and improved lipid balance. This isn't a radical transformation in days. It's a direction taking shape. Combined with improved circulation and reduced inflammation, the vascular environment becomes more stable than it was at baseline. At the same time, platelets may become less prone to unnecessary aggregation. This doesn't mean excessive thinning. It means better balance in blood dynamics, smoother flow, less resistance, less pressure against arterial walls. And now we arrive at day 21. This is the point where the new trajectory begins to stabilize. Not because the body has fully transformed, but because repeated signaling has crossed a threshold. The response is no longer temporary. It becomes patterned. Those who reach this stage often notice daily energy feeling more stable. Stress does not reflect in the body with the same intensity. Measurements appear calmer. Internal steadiness becomes more apparent. Yet there is still one final phase, because the final days of the month determine whether this remains a temporary experiment or becomes embedded. By day 22, the body hasn't performed a miracle, but it has adopted a new direction. The signals that began subtly in week 1 are now part of the daily rhythm. When stimulation becomes a consistent pattern, extended effects appear more clearly. At this stage, the impact extends beyond blood vessels. The digestive system begins benefiting more deeply. Garlic contains compounds that act as natural prebiotics, supporting beneficial gut bacteria growth. As microbiome balance improves, nutrient absorption improves. Immune regulation strengthens, since a large portion of immune function is linked to gut health. Meanwhile, liver enzymes responsible for detoxification receive additional support from sulfur compounds. This isn't magical cleansing, it's enhancement of an existing function. The liver works more efficiently. Oxidative stress remains better controlled. Circulation is now more stable than at any earlier point in the month. Blood flow is smoother, vascular resistance lower, inflammatory tone calmer. When this aligns with modest improvements in lipid balance and glucose response, the body operates in a more regulated state than where it began. By day 30, you may not see a dramatic visual difference in the mirror, but if you examine the measurements, you may notice the curve has shifted. More stable blood pressure, more balanced energy, calmer metabolic response, more prepared immune function. The key was never a large dose. It was the small signal, repeated. After the 30 days, you have 3 intelligent options. Option 1. Continue with the same dose, 1 clove daily, if your body tolerates it well and you experience no digestive discomfort. Option 2. Shift to a flexible pattern, such as 4 to 5 days per week instead of daily, maintaining benefit without burdening digestion. Option 3. Measure objectively. If you monitor blood pressure, blood sugar, or cholesterol, compare numbers before and after. Do not rely solely on perception. Numbers reveal direction. It is important to remember that garlic is not a replacement for medication, nor for a balanced lifestyle. Its role is supportive, not magical. The best results appear when combined with daily movement, balanced nutrition, and quality sleep. If you continue, crush the garlic and allow it to sit for a few minutes before consuming it to optimize allicin formation. Avoid excessive amounts to prevent digestive irritation. 1 clove per night did not create a miracle overnight, but it changed direction. And in biology, direction matters more than speed. The real question isn't, is garlic beneficial? The question is, will you give your body a small signal, long enough, for the trajectory to change? If you value this kind of deep scientific analysis, press like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who cares about their health. This type of content continues because of viewers who prefer understanding over headlines.